In conversation with Afton Feltham. Afton Feltham was raised on an acreage outside of Bonnyville, Alberta, before moving to Edmonton in 2006. Married in 2012 to Tony and had their daughter Gwendolyn in 2016 and son Theodore in 2022. Afton has been writing for years now, and by taking the step to publication, she is most excited to enter the wonderful world of literature. She and her family love getting out of the city to enjoy nature, both on land and water, and of course, spending what time she can relaxing with a good book. And on today's episode of our interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today, Afton Feltham. How are you doing, Afton?
I am wonderful today, Peter. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, it's my joy. I'm excited to have you on the
Me
show
too.
today. It's quite lovely. We're going to be having a conversation around your work.
Most excited to share what I can.
Yeah. So, Axton, let's start with your book titled Bloom of the Desert Rose, which I found the titles were quite beautiful and sounds quite lovely to me. And I'd love to ask you, how does this book come about? What inspired you to write Bloom of the Desert Rose?
Well, I would say life in general. It's been an endeavor since my childhood to write. I've always had that desire to do so, always carried a notebook with me.
Mm,
And as I got older, I found, to my surprise, it was romance that was my deep and long stories. So back in 2012, when I began, and after more than 10 years now, here we
yeah.
are, Bloom of the Desert Rose. I spent many years writing, several years publishing, and
Wow.
it's a dream come true to be on this side of that journey.
That's beautiful. And I love the cover of the book. Could you lift it to the camera again just so we can see what it looks like? It's quite beautiful. And now, this just popped up in my head. Would you like to talk about the making of the cover and how you came about the title, Bloom of the Desert Rose?
It was a title that I'd had mostly from the beginning. It kind of lingered
Wow.
with me, and initially I rejected it.
Wow.
I didn't care for it. It didn't come to me as the right title. But as I had gotten further into my novel, into the and as I'd reached the end, it was
Yeah.
obvious. The title was
Oh.
exactly the right title. There is hidden meaning to it, of course. When you read the novel, you see that. And again, even though I thought it was wrong, I'm so
Mm.
pleased with it. And I'd never change it now. She is the perfect book for me.
Wow. That's amazing. And I love your excitement talking about it. Sounds quite beautiful, really. Thank you. And
Thank
now,
you.
for readers who haven't read the book yet and without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect in terms of themes picking up Bloom, the Desert Rose?
It is a Western romance set in 1913 Wyoming. I
Wow.
definitely give the readers the romance they're looking for, that pining so much of us enjoy to read, good amount of tension, a bit of betrayal, of course, some heartbreak, all the things a wonderful romance, I believe, should have. And most importantly for me, I do believe I give my readers closure because I know there are books
Wow.
out there that bug me. So I hope, even if people are mad, I'm okay
Mm.
with that.
Yeah. That's quite fun, really. I love the
Yeah,
sound of that. Thank you, Afton. So it's quite
a
beautiful
strong
to know.
emotion. Strong emotion at the end of the book. That's what you want. That's what you want from your readers.
Yeah, and I love books actually. They're quite emotional, especially one that can able to pull me. It's always interesting. And now that wants me to ask you, knowing that writing is very tasking, I would like to ask you, how do you find the time to write? And what surprised you the most on your writing journey? Would you like to talk about that?
Yes, I'm really fortunate to be a stay-at-home mom. I am just a part-time cashier at Save on
Oh,
Foods here in Canada, and
I
my
see.
husband, God love him, he's able to do for us what I'm hoping to achieve with my writing. And I get to be here with my children. They're wonderful kids. So again, I'm extremely lucky. I'm privileged to have the chance and the opportunity to step away, take a few minutes, work on a new book, work on this book. I get to get it done. I'm fortunate. God loves
That's
family. My family.
that's amazing to know, really. And I love your short description. Yeah, I love your answer to this particular question. So that's quite, interesting. You're giving us a snippet, you know. Yeah. Thank you.
Daily life. Yeah. Wake up with the kids, have some lunch, do a little writing, clean the house, do a little reading, do the laundry.
You're so fun. That's amazing. And now, I love us to talk about inspirations and ideas, which is one of the things that always surprise me about writing. I'm always surprised and fascinated about our novelists, about our writers, especially novelists like yourself, craft long sentences and bring words together in a way that, paragraphs are making, pages are making chapters, and eventually interesting, like you have over there, a big, interesting, lovely novel out there. This always leave me thinking about how exactly they got their ideas and inspiration to put all these words together. And now, as far as writing is concerned, I would love to ask you too. How do you get your inspirations and ideas? Where did they come from?
I am a huge movie buff. So
Wow.
for me, when I'm writing it, it's so visual. I see it as a film in my head. And
Hmm.
my inspiration comes from anything and anywhere. It's always a romance that I try to write, but I have several written works currently publishing one of them again,
Mm,
but I'm kind of all over the place. My inspiration comes from any ideas, any picture that speaks
wow.
to you. It's marvelous to open your mind to the possibilities because with the
Mm,
capability, just as in film, with the written word, it's
mm,
limitless to what you can
wow.
create and
Absolutely.
bring people into, right? Like to create that world is just a phenomenal experience, and to
Yeah.
offer that is the best reward.
Wow. Wow. I love your take on these and I love your answers to these questions, really. It sounds quite pulling to me and compelling. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. And often, apart from Bloom of the Desert Rose, do you have any other works you've authored or say currently working on?
Yes, I actually just heard back from my publishers, Austin McCulley. I've been accepted for my second manuscript. The
Wow.
title is Sacrifice.
Wow.
You are able to see the synopsis on my website and such. It is a World War
Interesting.
II historical romance. Again, I'm all over the map. Any inspiration, I'm really excited about this one, and I'm looking forward to going through this process again. And I've got more to come. My to be written pile is as big as my to be read pile.
I love that. Your to be reading pile is as big as your to be to be read piles. That's quite amazing. It's well, we keep getting these ideas in our head, and I know that finding time to write it can be a bit of a challenge to most people, especially if you have other jobs doing. And yeah, but there's always ideas on writers' head one time or the other. But it's just about finding the time or exactly how to put them down in writing can be a bit tasking.
My
Yeah,
best friend, my notepad on my phone. I've got dozens of little this, that. Don't forget.
yeah. And I love your take on that, actually. It's very true. It's very true. Thank you. Thank you
Just
for
be ready.
sharing.
Be ready. Yes. Those
Yeah.
eureka moments, I tell you, even while writing, those moments can spring up on you and totally surprise you as the
Yeah.
author. Things happen in your novel that you're like, well, shoot, I didn't see that coming.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Afton. And now, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Are there any challenges you've encountered in the process of writing this book and also ever since it got published?
Well, I began this journey during COVID. things were
Mm.
a little different then. With my newest contract, I can definitely see the differences in the 3 years since, but I felt very grateful and very privileged to have been chosen to be traditionally published. It was a
Wow.
hybrid contract. You guys can look
Interesting.
that up. It's the quid quo pro, quid quo pro. Thank you. And it was wonderful, though. It was all through email. We never actually met or spoke to anybody, but they
Wow.
did everything for me. My cover design, it was my idea,
Oh.
and through emails back and forth, they brought it to life. They did my
Mm.
formatting, my proofing, my editing. It was wonderful. It was 2
Wow.
years journey for us from start to end, but by the end of that, I held my book in my hand, and that was a reward unlike anything else. And I'm really looking forward to the second round with them. And we're going to shorten that 24 months. You watch. I did it
Yeah,
once. I'll be this time.
that's amazing. And I would love to say congratulations on the acceptance of your second book for
Thank
publication. That's
you.
amazing. That's a good news.
Oh, I
You
was
shared
very
that with
pleased. Very,
me. You shared that with me via email yesterday, and I was like, "Oh wow, congratulations! That's amazing."
a wonderful Friday morning, I tell you. Wonderful Friday morning.
It is really lovely. Thank you. And how
Yeah.
often is there anything that you love to share with the viewers about your book that we did not mention in this interview, and you'd love the viewers to know?
I I'm a big music listener when I write. So
Oh.
when I've written all of my novels, I listen to a great deal of music and I find a great deal of inspiration in that too.
Mm.
And I want to acknowledge how much of an impact it has in my
Yes.
writing and the
Wow.
emotion, the feeling, the songs that can relate so much to parts of my
Absolutely.
work. And a few of my other works, a few of my other novels are chaptered with title songs, song titles.
Mm.
And again, they speak so much to what you're about to read. So for those people who are big into the music scene, again, it's just a little taste, a little hint of what you can expect too. So
Wow.
I really enjoy doing that as just a little offering as well as gratitude to those artists because
Interesting.
music is life, right?
Yeah. I love your take on this, really. It sounds quite beautiful to me. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's amazing, really. And now, as a published author, what sort of advice do you offer other writers who are still struggling with writing and publishing a book in your particular genre? What would you advise people in this category?
Never give up. You just got to keep pushing. Even
Yeah.
if that first manuscript has been rejected, it shouldn't stop you from writing your next book or your next.
Mm.
Myself, I'm working on my fifth right now, but I've only just published my first. But I'll never stop writing. It's blood from my fingertips at times, and I can sit there for 6 hours and put 10,000 words down in a weekend.
Wow.
But it does take that dedication and hopefully that time that you can put aside to do it.
Mm.
The motivation, the dedication, the determination to stick with it
Mm.
will get you there. Start simply. Start with the bones, add the meat. When you're ready, put in the details, the flesh, the hair, the eye color. And, 7 years, you can have a book just like me.
I love the
Trust me, the
excitement.
ones that came after didn't take as long to write. To get the first one out is quite an effort, but hopefully you enjoy the process, you learn from the process, you gain that knowledge, and things become better, become easier.
Well, I love your excitement talking about this, really. And I love your take
It's
on that.
it's my true calling in life. I feel grateful
Mm.
to have found it, and I think I'm pretty good at it too. So that makes it even better.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. That was great. And now, in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview and would love to get a copy of your book, on what platform is it available on for purchase?
You can find Bloom of the Desert Rose on Amazon for worldwide people. We can
Yeah,
find it at Indigo and Chapters here in Canada. For those of us in Alberta, I will be attending several book signings this year, this spring and summer.
interesting.
Check me out. I'll be all over the province. Let's see. We are in Barnes and Noble in America. We're in the United States. We're in UK, Australia. I'm everywhere. You can
Wow.
Google me pretty easily.
That's great. And I love to link in the discussion part of this interview where interested
Thank you.
viewers can get a copy of Afton Feltham's books directly on Amazon and also on other platform as well. So thank you so much, Afton, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation with you.
Thank you, Peter, for this chance, this opportunity. Absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. I love it too. It's nice speaking with you.
Yeah.